Good morning to one and all. This is Dr. P. Lavanya, working as Associate Professor in MBA Department in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Dundigal. Today our question bank relates to the marketing structures, pricing and output decisions. So in this we see the analytical questions relating to this unit. So the first question was, examine the features of monopoly market situation. So as we know, for this examination of monopoly market, it is one of the important imperfect market situation. So when you comes under the structure of the market, perfect markets is one type of markets, and along with that imperfect market is another market structure. So in case of this imperfect market, monopoly is one type of market structure. So we analyze what are the imperfect or monopoly marketing features in the present market situation. So the first we'll see what is the monopoly. So monopoly market structures which has been characterized with only the single sellers or the producers that dominates the entire supply. As the name itself, monopoly means mono is the single and seller means the person who produces or the sells the goods and services. So here the market structure itself consisting of a single seller or the producer, as he himself dominates the total structure of the markets, and he has a significant impact upon the production of the goods and services, means having an impact upon the demand and supply, and he captures the major part of the market power. So by this we can examine what are the common features of this monopoly market situation. So the single seller or the producer. So in the monopoly there are the one firm that determines the entire market and controls the production and supply. Means only one person producer or one single firm conforms the total production and the supply of goods and services. And the next unique features are the uniqueness of the product. So the monopoly typically we can say it is only the single seller producing the product, means the product itself is unique, means a differentiated product where the product doesn't get any sort of close substitutes, where the consumer they themselves limited to no alternatives, means only one product has been there and no other alternatives has been offered in the market. So the requirement of the people who requires certain goods has to purchase that only one goods. So that's why the product uniquity is the one of the important feature of this monopoly. Next, barriers to enter. As we have seen that imperfect market always will have restricted barriers. So as the monopoly is a single seller, he is having a high barriers which prevent the firms from entering the market and competing with the monopoly. Barriers may include the legal restrictions, high startups, or maybe the economies of the scales, or maybe exclusive access to the essential resources. Means why the company or maybe why there is barriers for entry of the monopoly market, means maybe legal restrictions are the one of the problem where other people cannot enter into the market, or maybe sometimes the startup or the capital requirements will be very high, or maybe the scale of production is another problem, or maybe some availability, non-availability of the essential resources, or the sum of the barriers which restrict other people to enter into the monopoly market. As another feature is a price maker, as monopoly is a single seller and controls over the market there. So here it is a competitive market where prices are determined by the supply and demand factors. So here the monopolistic, he himself as a single seller, he represents independently and he himself gives the price and calls as a price maker. Next, elasticity of the demand. So here in case of monopoly market, the product is typically inelastic, meaning that inelastic in the sense where there is a less responsiveness to the change of price. Why? Because the uniqueness of the product make the people to purchase the same product irrespective of the price. So that's why in the monopoly market, the product is typically inelastic and the monopoly allows himself to increase or the decrease the price in order to have the significant impact upon the consumers. Means sometimes if there is a significant impact is there based upon the price, then automatically the monopolist want to decrease the price in order to capture the more market segment. Next one is maximization of the profits. The monopoly aims to maximize his profits, means increase or achieve the more amount of the profits by skimming the total profits from the market. So this he can produce the quantity at which his marginal cost are equal to the marginal revenues. So in the competitiveness we can see that the market price itself sets where the marginal cost will be equal, means where the marginal costs are less, at the time the market price is set and more goods are sold in order to get maximum profits. No competition. Reason as a single seller, so there will not be any direct competition from any other. So this lack of competition leads to reduce the incentives for innovation and also the efficiency. Next, potentially high profits. So as a single seller, abnormal profits are targeted and they are the dominant in the market. However, so there is a maybe lead to the public security. So the regulations and prevention of exploitation of the consumers will be takes place in case of monopoly market. And as we know that limited consumer choice. So consumer has no choice where the selection of the goods and services. Why? Because he is a single seller and uniqueness of the product make them to choose same product, maybe where the consumer taste and preferences are changes also. So here, if they are dissatisfied with the quality, price also, sometimes it doesn't have the alternative product, the consumer has to use the goods only. Next, government regulations. Due to the market abuse, power abuse, government regulate the monopolistic and protect the consumer interest. So sometimes the regulations may included in the price controlling, antitrust measures or imposition of the social responsibility requirements. Means as we can't say that they doesn't have any government regulations. In consumer point of view, these type of some regulations may be imposed. So these natural monopolies, some monopolies has arisen, some industries due to these natural monopolies. So with a high fixed cost and economies of the scale. So in case of these potentially lack of innovations, means due to the natural monopolies, some industries are themselves has been tended towards the monopoly structure. And another feature is lack of innovation. So as the monopoly having uniqueness and the single seller, so they doesn't relax the incentives to have, and there is no competitive pressure upon the company. So due to these, the competitive markets often drives the firm to innovate or gain the competitive advantage. So by understanding the above features, we can say that monopoly market as they are the policy makers and they evaluate and they have their impact upon the market efficiency, consumer welfare and also the economic performance. So it helps us to formulate the appropriate regulatory measures to prevent the potential abuse of the market power. So this is about the important features of the monopoly in the present market situation. The next, compose some practical or very few real life situation of perfect competition. So when we have seen the perfect competition, already we said that market structures are of two types. One is perfect market and another one is imperfect market. So we'll see what is the perfect market and how that perfect market will be practically applicable in case of real life situations. So as we know, the perfect competition, it's a theoretically one type of market structure where we are able to identify the real life situations due to the idealized assumptions. So in case of perfect market, as we have seen, the first thing as there is a large number of buyers and sellers dealing within a homogeneous product and the perfect information of the product should be existed to the customers and it is very easy to enter or exist a market and no power for the individual firms to decision making. Means these are some of the common features which we existed in case of the perfect market. While it's challenging to find the instance where this perfect market having some conditions in case of the real life situation. So we'll see some of the examples. One of the real life situation where this perfect market operates is the agricultural markets for commodities of crops. So in some regions where markets for certain commodities like wheat, corn or soya bean or some may exist, where the characteristics of perfect market will be applicable in India. Numerously here the farmers produce the standardized crops and the buyers such as gains evaluation have a little control over the market prices. And next we can say like another type of example relating to this perfect competition is stock exchange for highly liquidate stock. So in case of as we know the stock exchange where day to day changes in the stock prices will be there. So in case of liquidity stock means where which can be easily sold in the market, they may be appropriate sometimes the perfect market conditions. So as these stock of are very large and well known as the companies with a high trading volumes and there are many buyers, sellers participating to be considered. Here the stock price is usually determined by the market force of supply and demand. And another example where we can give that online auction for homogeneous goods. Sometimes we used to find the auction upon the online platforms, especially dealing with some sort of standard goods with a large number of participants. In online, large number of the participants will be taken place, which sometimes the factors or the situation resembles the perfect competition. Here the bidders and sellers has access to perfect information and easy of entry and exit is relatively high in case of online auctions. And another type of example where we can give like foreign exchange markets for major currencies. In the foreign exchange markets like the currency valuation or the exchange of the currency may be like US dollars, euros, Japanese and or traded. So due to the large participants at an entire world, in case of this foreign exchange market, where the rate will be standardized and the nature of the currency are in units. So where we are going for continuously trading of this situation and these market exists the characteristics of the perfect competition. And another we can say like a street market for fresh products in developing countries means locally demand will be there for local market or the street products where multiple small farmers will sell their product and they come close together and where there exists a perfect competition. Maybe these products may be homogeneous and they have the limited control over the prices of the individual sellers. So by these examples we are able to say that there are some instances which are regularly affecting the perfect competition. And where we can say that in the real world markets, we are often deviated relating to the information and also the barriers for entry. Perfect competition is serves as a benchmark for economic analysis which help us to push up or purify the forms of the actual markets. The next question relates to the construct the diagram to show the equilibrium of the firm under the conditions of monopolistic competition. So as we know that monopolistic competition is another form of imperfect market structure where there are large number of producers and buyer, but the main or the common feature of this monopolistic market is the product differentiation. So here we used to identify that some degree of market power and they also help to face the competition from one firm to the other but not identical product. Means due to the product differentiation the products are the different. So we can express or we can describe the monopolistic with the help of the diagram in equilibrium state. So first we will see that horizontal axis, the quantity and output. So where we can identify that in case of identifying the diagram of this monopoly market, where we can say in case of the horizontally, we used to have the quantity or output where we can represent and vertical axis where we can represent the price and the cost. So as we know that the demand curve itself will be faces from top to down sloping, and as we know that AR, average revenue curve, where it is also forms which was in a upwards downing slopes lies about the marginal revenue, as because of monopolistic competition firms only increases their sales by increasing the price. So as we have the marginal revenue where MR, it is below the average cost curve and slips down, where monopolistic competition lowers the price, then he sells the more unit. Next, marginal cost MC, that is additional cost, where we represents the additional cost incurred by the firm for producing the each unit of additional output. And as we know that additional cost reach to the additional unit of output. And average total cost curve, which represents that average cost per unit of output, where this average cost includes both the fixed cost and also the variable cost. Now we comes to the diagrammatical representation of the equilibrium position or equilibrium point of the monopoly structure. So now we'll see that this is the axis where we can identify that output is given on the x-axis and the price could be determined on the y-axis. So as we ourselves has been seeing that MR, marginal revenue curve, has been sloped downwards, and also AR, that is average revenue, is also steeped down. The reason for downfall of these two curves is as the price decreases, automatically the monopolistic will sell more units of output and gains more amount of profit. So when I want to determine the equilibrium price, first we should identify that short run and long run. As we know that short run is a limited period where the monopoly can having a chance of getting a normal profits, losses or abnormal profits. But when you comes in a constant period of the long run, where the monopoly himself will get abnormal profits, or maybe sometimes he can get a normal profits. So here we see the equilibrium situation where we are getting the profit range as these AR-MR steeps down, and marginal cost curves are the U-shaped curves, which is called as additional cost, and average cost curve is the total cost, that is fixed and variable cost consisting in the average cost curve. Where these MR and AR cuts, the points we'll call it as an equilibrium point, and the area where we are having that differentiation, that is cutting off from AR to AC, where this total portion we can consider as the profits of the monopolistic organization. So, and say we can say in that monopoly, the firms can earn a short-run economic profits or incur sometimes the short-run losses also. Hence, in the long run, as there is an existence of both the market based upon its profitability and the leading situation, we can identify that economic profits are tend towards the zero. So that's why 100% we cannot give that conformity that in all situation that monopolistic gains and abnormal profits. Next question. Test which firm would you like to specify for perfect competition in Indian scenario. So as we know, the perfect competition is a situation where it is in a unique for all with a homogeneous product. So there are many small firms that produces identical products in Indian scenario, and there is entry easy for each firm to enter into the market and easy to exist in the market. So in the Indian context, we can point out that specific firms which products a model for across the industries. However, certain scenario exhibits some characteristics of this perfect competition to some extent. So for these, the Indian firms which are exhibiting the perfect competition scenario is mainly goes for the agricultural sector, where there are many small farmers producing the homogeneous goods. As Indian farming, their goods, so whatever they produce, certain areas they will produce alike goods like rice, wheat or vegetables, java and other. So these individual farmers may not have the significant impact upon the market price, and there is relatively easy to enter and exist the market. So with this, we can note that the perfect competition is an idealized concept, but in reality, it's very rare we find the markets who are exactly following the perfect markets. Why? Because most of the market exhibits both the perfect competition and also the imperfect competition. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.